Welcome to The Source, where we combine the headlines with in-depth conversations with the newsmakers themselves. I'm Pinky Webb. Today on the program, around 600 nurses appeal to President Rodrigo Duterte to lift the deployment ban, but Malacañang insists the ban remains in times of national emergencies. Also, the government defends its decision to keep healthcare workers in the country, saying they are needed here now more than ever. The health department vows to hire thousands of healthcare workers, but will this be enough? And from salary hikes to hazard pay, how can the government improve the lives of our medical frontliners? Filipino Nurses United President Maristella Abenojar, PrisoNurse Vice President April Glory, and Labor Secretary Silvestre Bello join us live. The Labor Department denies reports that government has relaxed restrictions on the deployment of nurses abroad. Malacañang earlier said the ban on sending healthcare workers abroad may likely be lifted once the coronavirus emergency has subsided. But some nurses groups are appealing to the president to lift the ban that they described as irrational. They're also calling for action on persistent issues such as lack of protective gear, understaffing, low wages, lack of hazard pay, and unfair demotion of government nurses. Let's go straight to the sources of the story. We have Filipino Nurses United President Maristella Abenojar and PrisoNurse Vice President April Glory. Maristella and April, welcome to the show at maraming salamat sa inyong oras.
Magandang umaga, Pinky, and to all the viewers of CNN.
Good morning, everyone. Good
Mag-umpisa
morning
na ako
po sa
kay...
viewers.
Maraming salamat. So, I'll start with April. Medyo matagal na itong kalbaryo ninyo. But, sumulat ka kay Pangulong Rodrigo Duterte through Senator Bongo. Yung laman ng sulat mo, nung binasa ko, ay basically yung sentimiento ng ilan pang mga nurses katulad mo, kung saan tila umasa kayo, nabigo kayo, umasa kayo, tas muli na naman kayong nabigo. Tell us what happened.
We started as, we called ourselves PrisoNurses kasi simula po nung ma-implement yung deployment ban, we felt like na-imprison kami dito sa ating bansa, hindi kami makalabas. And then by mid-March or by April, yung laban namin partially nagkaroon ng linaw kasi po yung mga balik manggagawa, yung mga direct hire na nurses, nabigyan po sila ng chance. Kaya lang po ang dami pa rin naiwan. Merong mga nagsimula na ng process, meron ng mga may visa, may OECs na hindi pa rin makaalis kasi new hire sila. So inilaban pa rin po namin yon until by June 2, we had a Zoom meeting with Secretary Bello and Administrator Bernard Olalia, and we were granted na yung mga new hires as long as meron kaming contracts na not later than March 8 will be allowed to go. And marami na po kaming parang nagkaroon na kami ng pag-asa kasi most of us po yung contracts namin is not later than March 8, although meron pa rin pong mga may iwan kasi after March 8 yung contracts nila. But at least this is a small victory na ipinagpapasalamat namin. And after nun, since June 2, nabigyan kami ng chance. So inayos po namin yung papers namin until just 2 days ago, sinabihan po kami na merong Zoom meeting si Secretary Bello, and he is claiming that there is no exception already. It will be a total ban. And after all ng lahat ng aming pinagdaanan at yung paghahanda, gumastos, nangutang, gumastos uli, tapos itinigil, tapos gumastos uli, tapos ngayon ititigil uli. Ano na pong mangyayari sa amin? Hindi na po namin alam saan po ba talaga kami lulugar. Ang dami na po namin naging sakripisyo para lang po makarating sa point na nandito na po, aalis na po kami. Bakit po kami pinipigilan uli?
So, puntahan muna natin, balikan natin tong POEA resolution. Let me talk to Maristella about this. So, ang sinabi kasi, from my understanding, there was a temporary suspension sa pag-alis ng mga health workers since April. So, ang ibig sabihin nun, nagka-ban nung March, sabi nga ni April. Tapos, parang dun sa sulat kasi ni April, sabi niya nagkaroon ng ban, pero pinayagan ata yung mga overseas Filipino workers. So, si April, akala niya, pasok siya dun sa overseas Filipino workers, pero, sorry, balikan ko si April. Pero April, sabi mo, hindi ka pala OFW?
Opo, hindi po pala kami kasama. We are OFW pero we were considered as parang hindi in-exclude po kami. Nagkaroon po ng exclusive exclusion kasi po lahat po ng OFWs nagkaroon ng time na pinayagan nila. Pero kami po hindi, which hindi po din namin maintindihan because as medical workers, we are the first ones who understand the risk of going abroad. Pero kami po yung unang-unang hindi pinaalis.
Pero hindi kayo pinaalis, then, balikan muna natin ng March ha, dahil ba sinabi nila sa inyo na kakailanganin kayo dito sa bansa?
No po. The initial reason po is, number one, yung reason po nila dun sa memo is they want us to be safe. Ayaw po nila na ma-expose kami. That's the first reason. And then, I think yung second and third, I'm not sure. Pero yung fourth reason po is they want to augment the shortage of nurses po dito sa atin. That's the fourth reason.
Okay, so now let me go to Maristella. Maristella, so the POEA resolution, wasn't it clear sa mga nurses or kahit sa mga health workers, please help me understand this, na since April ay talagang may ban na kayo?
Balikan natin yung in-issue ng Department of Labor and Employment. Ito yung Governing Board Resolution number 9, Series of 2020, na pinirmahan ni Secretary Bello noong 2nd of April this year. Ang nakalagay po doon na reason nila is, whereas it is of paramount national interest to ensure that the country shall continue to have, sustain the supply, and prepare sufficient health personnel to meet any further contingencies, especially to replace, substitute, or reinforce existing workforce currently employed, deployed, or utilized locally. So, in the main, ang sinasabi nila ay temporary banning ng pag-deploy ng ating mga healthcare workers. Isa po dyan ang mga nurses. Kasi 14 po yung nilista nila at isa lang po dyan ang nurses. Pero alam po natin na ang pinakamarami talaga na naka-process ang application palabas ng bansa ay mga nurses. Pero kung atin pong susuriin, amin pong tinignan yung ating manpower dito sa bansa. Yun pong nakapasa ng licensure examination mula 2000 hanggang 2019 ay umabot po ng 580,359. At yun naman pong sinasabi ng Department of Labor and Employment na nakalabas na ng bansa mula 2000 hanggang 2019 ay umaabot po ng mga 260 plus. Kaya po, at dito naman po sa bansa, sabi ng Department of Health sa kanilang Health Human Resources Development Bureau noong 2017, ang naka-employ daw po na mga nurses sa public at private hospitals natin ay nasa 66,765. Kaya kung atin pong ibabawas yung mga employed sa kasalukuyan at yung mga nakalabas ng bansa mula doon sa mga nakapasa ng board exam, meron tayong rough estimate ng 200,000 to 240,000 na unemployed or underemployed na mga nurses. In fact, ang Department of Foreign Affairs, ang binabanggit nila ay nasa 400,000 yung unemployed. Ngayon, tignan natin yung binanggit ni Secretary Duque ng DOH na approved daw po na slot para sa emergency hiring of healthcare workers. Sabi po niya, noong August 3 ay 8,732 ang approved slot. So kaya po, kung titignan natin yung, at sabi rin po niya ay mahigit sa kalahati na yung kanilang na-achieve at that time. Kaya po, kung titignan natin, wala pong dahilan. Bakit po pigilan ang ating mga nurses na mayroong application na magtrabaho sa labas ng bansa. Kasi hindi po sila
Okay.
ang pwede nating source in the main.
Okay, naintindihan ko yon. Kasi if you look at statistics that you mentioned, Maristella, parang sinasabi mo over 200,000 nurses are either
Yes.
unemployed or underemployed. Yan ang sinasabi mo. And
Yes.
government is saying that we need our healthcare workers. In fact, we need to hire about 10,000 of them. So, syempre, pagka i-minus mo, ilagay na natin sa 10,000 kahit na wag na 8,700 na sinabi mo. Meron kang
Yes.
still over 200,000 nurses or healthcare. Yung 200,000 ba, nurses ba yan o healthcare workers?
Nurses po, Miss Pinky. Nurses po yan.
Oh, ang dami niyan. So, what you're saying is there's obviously an oversupply.
Yes, definitely.
Let me bring this in. So, sabi nila, okay, the ban stays. Sabi ni Secretary Roque, charity actually begins at home. Kailangan natin ng mga doktor, kailangan natin ng mga allied medical professionals, manatili muna tayo sa bansa. Sabi din ni Secretary Galvez, this is a long fight. Kailangan na ma-preserve natin ang strength ng ating mga healthcare workers. Ano ang tugon nyo dito kapag narinig yung tuloy ang ban at yung naging pahayag ni na Secretary Roque at Secretary Galvez? Let me ask April.
I think our numbers po, yung mga paalis this time during this pandemic is not as significant as the numbers na maiiwan dito sa atin sa Pilipinas. Yun pong paalis talaga, I think, dun po sa data na nakuha namin with our group is it will not go more than 1,000 nurses. And these are not, because they are claiming na yung mga paalis po is highly skilled. And they are afraid, as what Secretary Bello mentioned the other last August 18, they were afraid that yung mga skilled workers lahat ang aalis tapos maiiwan yung mga new graduates, which is not true. Kasi po yung ibang bansa po, especially Germany, even United Kingdom and Ireland and I think Saudi, they are already starting to get nurses who are fresh graduates. The reason po is number one, we will not use our licenses, local licenses, papunta sa ibang bansa. Pagdating po namin din, we will still study, we will still undergo training para po magkaroon kami ng license sa bansa na pupuntahan namin. So, it is not true. Yes. Correct. It is not true po na yung highly skilled workers lang ang aalis. There are even new graduates that were hired because yung pagiging receptive nila sa bagong information, they are din po kinukuha din. And then with the 1,000 of us na paalis and we are not going all together in one flight or in just 1 or 2 months. We will go po mga 1 or 2 or 3 in the coming 6 months. Hati-hati po yun. I don't think it will give a direct effect po dun sa healthcare system po natin. Kasi sobrang konti po natin at mas marami po talaga na nurses na hindi pa alis na nandito sa Pilipinas na mas nangangailangan po ng trabaho.
And if the numbers that you're telling me are correct, yung sinabi ni Maristella na over 200,000 nurses that are available, either hindi sila employed or underemployed sila, imposible namang kalahati nun ay new graduates, di ba? I mean, definitely if you look into the composition of that, maraming skilled na siguradong, I'm assuming, na parte o bahagi nitong 200,000 plus nurses. All right, we need to take a very short break, no, Maristella and April. We're seeing a lot of reactions on our Facebook page, even po sa akin sa Twitter. I know you've been trying to reach out to me as well. We'll continue our discussion on the deployment ban for nurses. We'll be taking a short break. This is The Source on CNN Philippines. We'll be right back. You're watching The Source on CNN Philippines. Our guests today, Maristella Abenojar of Filipino Nurses United and April Glory of PrisoNurse. April, balikan ko yung sulat mo. That part, dun sa last part kasi, sinabi mo na you have a son and you have sick parents to actually take care of. Sabi mo pa, you would risk contracting COVID-19 COVID-19 para lang makapag-provide sa kanila. How desperate are you to actually leave the country? And on a follow-up question, hindi ka ba nakapag-apply dito? Or if you did, hindi ka ba natanggap?
Yung sa last question mo pa, actually, I applied kasi it doesn't feel right na when I nag-resign po ako sa previous work ko ng March 2020 kasi akala ko po paalis na ako. And then just after I resigned, nagkaroon ng lockdown. So parang ang nangyari po, nandito ako sa bahay, hindi ako nagtatrabaho and nurse ako. Parang hindi po tama. So sabi ko mag-a-apply po ako. Nag-apply po ako in one of the DOH programs. Tapos sinabi po nila sa akin na kailangan mo ng ganitong papers, tapos kailangan mo ng magpa-medical. And after I did the medical po, after ko pong magpa-medical, I was waiting for the date of my deployment. I was called and I was texted by my contact. Sinabi po niya na, ma'am, hindi na po tuloy yung deployment mo kasi hindi na po kailangan ng nurse. Yun po yung sabi nila sa akin. It was very disappointing because I really want to help. It's not, parang it doesn't feel right po na nurse ako, tapos andito ako sa bahay. Kaya nag-try po talaga ako na mag-apply. And then, yun nga po, ang sabi po nila, hindi na nga daw po tuloy. So sabi ko, instead of being here at home, tapos meron din naman po akong pending application, inilaban na lang po talaga namin yung ban. And kung nagkaroon po kami ng chance, tinuloy-tuloy po talaga namin. We had yung on our part po, for ordinary people like us, yung maliit na halaga nagagastusin namin para dito sa employment namin, para dun sa mga processing, malaking bagay na po yun. So ang ginawa po talaga namin, yung ginawa po talaga namin, nangutang, tapos nagsanla ng mga gamit. I hear some of our friends, some of people on the group na ipinagbili yung mga lupa para lang po makatuloy-tuloy ng pag-deploy. So it's really not fair na napigilan po kami. Tapos yun nga po, sabi ko, I will do anything para lang po makaalis because I'm not leaving because para sa sarili ko. Hindi lang po ito para sa sarili ko. I have to fight for my family. The price, hindi pwedeng yung ang maging kabayaran ay yung future ng anak ko kasi hindi po pwede na ganun kasi walang mangyayari sa buhay ng anak ko kapag dito po ako nagtrabaho kasi nanggaling na po actually ako ng abroad, ex-Saudi po ako. I was there for 5 years and habang nasa Saudi po ako, maganda po yung buhay ng anak ko. But then again, nakaipon po ako ng konti. So sabi ko po, I think 5 years is enough. Okay. So sabi ko po, uwi na ako. I want to stay in the Philippines. I want to serve the Philippines. Kasi mahal ko ang Pilipinas. Dito ako mamamatay. Ayoko sa ibang bansa. Ayoko sa malamig. Dito lang ako sa atin. But reality sets in na kapag nandito ka na, yun.
Yun po. Sa ika nga nila, 'di ba, you look for yung siyempre malaking bagay dito, no, April and Maristella, siyempre yung sweldo. Sino ba naman ang gustong mawalay sa kanilang pamilya dito sa Pilipinas? But it's almost the story of overseas Filipino workers, di ba? Ang masakit pa dyan, o nakakasama ng loob, yung umutang kayo, umasa kayo, nabigo kayo, umutang na naman kayo, umasa kayo, tapos medyo... So, okay, Maristella, what is the plan now? Now that banned pa rin kayo and they've made it clear, government has made it clear, we need you need to stay here. I know you said that the numbers don't seem to add up, no, dahil nga parang sinasabi mo nga there's an oversupply. What is next? Because I know that in this letter meron kayong 3 hinihingi sa gobyerno. Una, yung seeking an audience with the IATF. My question is, hindi pa ba kayo nakakapag-usap sa kahit na sinong official ng IATF or maybe Secretary Bello for that matter?
Actually, nakausap na namin ang marami sa miyembro ng Interagency Task Force, lalo na si Secretary Bello ng Department of Labor at si POEA Administrator Olalia. Ganon din nakausap na rin namin ng Department of Health sa ilang mga public hearing sa Kongreso kung saan ito ay naimbita ang ating mga kasamahan. Ang amin pong plano ay bakit gusto naming silang makausap muli ay para magpa-reconsider ng kanilang desisyon. Kasi hindi po makatarungan talaga yung kanilang naging pagbaban, total ban sa lahat. Kasi una, yung binabanggit nila na magsilbi muna dito sa ating bayan, ang marami po sa mga nurses na ito na papalabas na sana ng bansa ay nagsilbi sa ating bansa either sa LGU Hospital, DOH Hospital o private hospital sa matagal na panahon. Kagabi, Pinky, kausap ko almost 12 midnight na ang isang nurse na taga La Union na umiiyak siya at sinasabi niya na, "Ma'am, ayoko po na makita ko ulit ang nanay ko na mamamatay dahil wala akong pera, dahil wala akong nagawa." And na-touch ako dun sa kwento niya. Ito palang nurse na ito ay isang taon na nag-volunteer sa isang LGU hospital doon sa kanilang probinsya at wala siyang sweldo. Pagkatapos noon, 4 na taon siyang nagtrabaho sa isang community LGU hospital kung saan ang sweldo lang niya ay 8,000 a month. At 3 years ago, namatay ang tatay niya for a cardiac arrest. At wala silang nagawa. Sabi niya, pinanood ko lang ang tatay ko sa bahay na namamatay kasi kailangan ng 25,000 para sa CT scan. Kailangan ng malaking halaga para ma-admit sa ospital at wala siyang pera. So, yun yung sinasabi niya na pangako niya sa sarili niya. Ngayon, pagkatapos ng 5 taong nagsilbi siya sa bansa, iaahon niya ang kanyang pamilya at ayaw niyang makita ang kanyang natitirang magulang, ang kanyang nanay na sapitin yung sinapit ng tatay niya na mamamatay na wala man lamang access sa health services kasi siya bilang panganay ay walang pera. So ito yung mga ilan sa mga kwento ng ating mga kasamahan. Kaya nais natin na sana makinig ang ating pamahalaan. Hindi po fair ito na pinipigilan natin sila kasi nagsilbi na sila sa ating bansa.
Ilan sa grupo ninyo, itong Filipino Nurses United, ilan kayo sa grupo at ilan ang meron ng tamang papeles para yung the appropriate papers, they have the requirements so that they can leave?
Sa ngayon po, itong mga papaalis ay nasa 600 plus, di ba, Miss April? Yung mga dapat na umalis na pipigilan, no, hindi makalabas ng bansa. Kaya gusto natin itong pa-reconsider kasi almost 1.5 to 2 years na po silang unemployed. So dahil kailangan nilang mag-resign sa kanilang mga trabaho to process their papers.
So 600 ang pending ngayon na nurses na sana ay kumpleto na yung papeles at sana ay umaasang makakaalis. All right, we need to take another short break. We'll be right back.